Hello and welcome to the light. Today we're journeying back in time, over 2,500 years ago, to ancient Greece. We're going to uncover the story of a man whose name you almost certainly know from math class, but whose life was far more mysterious, influential, and downright strange than you might imagine. We're talking about the one and only Pythagoras of Samos. Now when I say Pythagoras, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably a right-angled triangle, right? Squared plus b equals c squared. The Pythagorean theorem. It's one of the most famous equations in all of mathematics. But what if I told you that Pythagoras might not have even invented it? And what if I told you that the man himself was less of a mathematician and more of a spiritual guru, cult leader, and a political figure who believed in the transmigration of souls and had some very, very particular rules about beans? Intrigued? You should be? The story of Pythagoras is a fascinating blend of fact, legend, and philosophy that fundamentally shaped Western thought. So, buckle up as we separate the man from the myth and explore the incredible life of Pythagoras. Our story begins around 570 BC on the Greek island of Samos, a bustling hub of trade and culture in the Aegean Sea. This is where Pythagoras was born. Details about his early life are shrouded in legend, as are most things about him. Some accounts, written centuries later, even claim his father was the god Apollo, which tells you just how revered he became. His mother was a native of Samos, named Pythagoras. His name, Pythagoras, is said to mean he who was announced by the Pythian, a reference to the oracle at Delphi. What we can say with more certainty is that he grew up in a vibrant intellectual environment. Samos was home to brilliant minds, like the engineer Eupalinos, who built a revolutionary tunnel, and the philosopher Thales, from nearby Miletus, was shaking up the world with his ideas that the universe could be understood through reason, not just mythology. Young Pythagoras likely absorbed all of this. Ancient biographers agree that he was exceptionally bright and thirsty for knowledge. To quench this thirst, he traveled extensively. Though it's hard to separate historical fact from later embellishments, it's widely believed that Pythagoras journeyed to Egypt, a land of ancient wisdom and mystery. There, he may have spent over 2 decades studying with Egyptian priests, learning their geometry, astronomy, and religious rites. Think about that, the knowledge of the pharaohs being passed down to this young Greek thinker. He's also said to have traveled to Babylon, where he would have encountered sophisticated mathematics and astronomical observations from the Chaldean Magi. These journeys were not just academic tourism. They were a spiritual and intellectual pilgrimage. Pythagoras was absorbing the world's knowledge, synthesizing the mystical traditions of the East with the budding rationalism of the West. He was looking for a deeper pattern, a hidden harmony that connected everything from the stars in the sky to the notes in a musical scale. Around the age of 40, in approximately 530 BC, Pythagoras made a pivotal move. He left his homeland, possibly fleeing the tyranny of Polycrates, who ruled Samos, and sailed to Croton, a prosperous Greek colony in what is now southern Italy. And it's here, in Croton, that Pythagoras goes from being a student of the world to a master of his own universe. He didn't just open a school, he founded a society, a brotherhood. This wasn't your typical academy. It was a community that was part philosophical school, part religious commune, and part political movement. It was called the Semicircle of Pythagoras. To join, you had to be an initiate, sworn to secrecy. This is one of the reasons why his life is so mysterious. The Pythagoreans were notoriously tight-lipped. Life inside the brotherhood was highly structured and ascetic. Members shared all their possessions, living a communal lifestyle. They followed a strict set of rules, known as akousmata, or things heard. Some of these were profound ethical maxims, but others were, well, a bit odd. For example, Pythagoreans were forbidden from stirring a fire with a knife, stepping over a crossbar, or leaving the imprint of a pot in the ashes. And most famously, they had a strict prohibition against eating beans. Yes, fava beans, why? The exact reason is lost to time, but theories abound. Some say it was because beans were thought to contain the souls of the dead. Others suggest a more practical reason, linking them to a rare genetic blood disorder called favism. Whatever the reason, this dietary rule became a defining feature of his sect. But the core of Pythagoreanism wasn't about beans. It was about the belief that reality, at its deepest level, is mathematical in nature. Their motto was "all is number." Pythagoras and his followers saw numbers not just as tools for counting, but as sacred, mystical entities that govern the cosmos. They discovered the numerical ratios that determine musical harmony. By experimenting with a simple instrument called a monochord, they found that consonant musical intervals like an octave. A fourth art created by simple integer ratios of string length: 2:1, 3:2, 4:3. This was a monumental discovery. For perhaps the first time in history, a fundamental quality of the physical world, the beauty of music, was explained by pure numbers. This led them to a grand unifying theory: the harmony of the spheres. They believed that the planets and stars, as they moved through the heavens, also adhered to these perfect mathematical ratios, producing a celestial music, a divine symphony that we couldn't hear, but which structured the entire universe. It's a beautiful, poetic idea that connected mathematics, music, and cosmology. The soul was central to their beliefs. Pythagoras taught the doctrine of metempsychosis, or the transmigration of souls. He believed that the soul was immortal, and upon death was reborn into another body, human or animal. He even claimed to remember his own past lives, including one as a warrior in the Trojan War. The goal of the Pythagorean way of life, with its purification rituals, dietary restrictions, and intellectual pursuits, was to purify the soul so that it could eventually escape the cycle of reincarnation and return to its divine origin. And now, let's talk about that famous theorem. The idea that for a right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. While it bears his name, the relationship itself was known to earlier civilizations, like the Babylonians and the Egyptians, who used it for practical purposes like construction and land surveying. So what was the Pythagorean contribution? It's believed that they were the first to prove the theorem as a general principle, to demonstrate that it holds true for all right-angled triangles, not just specific examples. This shift from practical application to abstract proof is a cornerstone of Greek mathematics and a giant leap for human thought. It's about understanding the why, not just the how. But this love of numbers led them to a terrifying discovery. A secret so dangerous it was said to have been kept under penalty of death. They believed all things could be expressed as the ratio of whole numbers and integers. But then, one of their own, possibly a man named Hippasus, applied their theorem to a simple square with sides of length 1. The diagonal, according to the theorem, would be the square root of 2, and the square root of 2 cannot be expressed as a ratio of two whole numbers. It is an irrational number. This shattered their worldview. It was a flaw in the divine order, a number that didn't fit. Legend has it that Hippasus revealed this secret and was drowned at sea by the horrified Pythagoreans for his heresy. While likely an exaggeration, this story highlights just how seriously they took their mathematical philosophy. For about 20 years, the Pythagorean society thrived in Croton, gaining immense political influence. Its members, who were mostly from the aristocratic class, held high positions in the city's government. But their power, secrecy, and elitism bred resentment among the general populace. Around 510 BC, a democratic uprising, led by a man named Cylon of Croton, turned against them. The Pythagorean meeting places were attacked and burned, and many members were killed. Pythagoras himself managed to escape. He fled to Metapontum, another Greek city, where he died around 495 BC, the age of about 75. But the end of his life was not the end of his influence. His surviving followers scattered across Greece, spreading his ideas far and wide. Pythagoreanism had a profound impact on later philosophers. Plato was deeply influenced by the Pythagorean belief in an eternal, unseen world of perfect forms and the immortality of the soul. His emphasis on mathematics as the key to understanding reality is pure Pythagoras. And through Plato, these ideas flowed to his student Aristotle, and from there into the very bedrock of Western philosophy, science, and spirituality. So, the next time you see a squared plus b squared equals c squared, remember that it's more than just an equation. It's a relic from the life of a truly extraordinary figure, man who was part mathematician, part mystic, part musician, and part political revolutionary. A man who taught that the universe sings a silent song, that our souls are on an eternal journey, and that numbers hold the key to unlocking the deepest secrets of existence. Pythagoras may have lived in a world of myth and legend, but his quest to find the harmony in the cosmos changed our world forever. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the past here at The Light. If you enjoyed this exploration and want to uncover more stories of the great minds that shaped our world, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious.